A name is a name is a name, with apologies to Gertrude Stein. She was born on the 30th of December 1944, a Capricorn in Liverpool at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night, and named Gillian Tessa Levin, no relation to Bernard. Gillian was her formal name at school, at the doctor's, the solicitor's, and the bank. It was her name on her birth certificate and ultimately would be on her death certificate. But at home with mum and dad, she was just plain Jill, and she knew she was in trouble if she was called Gillian. She didn't like either name, especially the un sound in Gillian. Tessa, her middle name, reminded her of a fat woman like her Auntie Tessie from Leeds, or two-ton Tessie O'Shea, the well-known radio and TV personality in the 50s. Tessa Gillian was also the name of a horse that won the Derby at Aintree, Liverpool, when she was a child. Her father never backed the horse and it came in second, so she lost out. And Tessa was also the name of her stillborn sister, who would have been 5 years older had she lived. Little Gillian grew up in Liverpool, in the protected middle-class suburb of Childwell, and in 1970 began her epic South American voyage. She added an A to her name, and the phonemes changed her life forever and a day. The curt "un" sound vanished and was replaced by an elongated romantic "ah." Her disliked name was magically transformed into the beautiful and memorable sounding name of Jilliana. What a beautiful name, they said in Buenos Aires and Rio de Janeiro, as the sound flowed effortlessly into Spanish and Portuguese. She felt proud of her name and newfound identity. She was called many names when she returned to Europe. A Bulgarian lover called her Jilka. Her oldest best friend in Jerusalem affectionately called her Jilly. Cuban friends called her Jilly, that's with an I as opposed to a Y. Another friend, J, and a French client called her Gigi, which she loved. When she lived in Paris, she was called Jilliana Levin or Jilliana Levine, with a delicious French accent. The years went by and Jilliana became, after her marriage to the magician Martin Breese, Jilliana Ranicar-Breese. This was such a mouthful that people remembered the name, and especially her visiting card, a handwritten playing card, each one an edition of one, signed with her professional initials JRB. The problem was her husband refused to call her Jilliana because he considered it too pretentious with people in her profession, the world of antiques, dealing in Victoriana, Edwardiana, Golfiana. Who the hell do you think you are, a Jewish princess? You're Jill. So her stepchildren called her Jill along with her pre-1970 friends. But the problem was his friends in the magic fraternity would call her Jill too. It became complicated because her professional and artistic name was Jilliana. During the 80s, Jilliana got involved again in personal development. This included hypnotherapy and NLP workshops, where she had to have dialogues with her other self or visualize her other self. Well, was Tessa the sister she never knew, the other self? She attempted a dialogue, but of course it was one way and fruitless. Thus Tessa was abandoned forever. But still wondering to this day why there had been Victorian brown ink writing saying Gillian Tessa on the reverse of a sepia photograph of Matthew Bolton Georgian silver candlesticks owned by her grandparents, who were antique dealers in Swansea. Who was Gillian Tessa? Years ago, she searched the name Jilliana on the web. There was one other entry, an artist in California. Today there is a Jilliana fan club and her name has 11,000 entries or references. But she was the first. You have to be number one in life. If you type Jilliana in Google, she comes up before the name is even completed. So what happened to all the others? Lost in cyberspace. Recently, she has suffered an adjustment disorder, at least that's what the psychiatrists call her infliction. She has given herself a new identity, and what name could be better than that of Tessa, the sister she had never known. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes of Jilliana, she will soar and go from strength to strength. Viva Jilliana Tessa. Now, I wrote that in 2006 when I had a mental breakdown caused by my dear departed husband. However, I did write after that, in 2016, an epilogue. As Jilliana was often called the Queen, she decided to brand herself accordingly. Even in Chania, when in 2013 she was invited for Christmas evening dinner in the home of the American artist John Tierney, she was told during the evening that the children had seen her walking towards the house and had run up to their parents excitedly saying, "The Queen is coming." Her best friend Pauline would often call her Queenie or Rani, after we discovered that Rani was Queen in Hindi and that she would be going to India. Years earlier, she laughed when a formal letter arrived for Mrs. Ranicar. The postal sorter must have been an Indian. When she went to Morocco, she was called Malika, which means Queen in Arabic. And finally, she went to Turkey and began wearing bonnets, a type of turban. She called herself Sultana Jilliana, befitting a queen. And that was updated in Udaipur in India, January 2016. Thank you very much.
Wow, nice. I think you need a tripod.